Expect the best used car deals guaranteed. Visit arnoldclark.com.
Welcome to Peter and Ruffy's football show on the last day of February. I'm Peter Martin, delighted to have you on this Thursday. Alan Ruff and Hugh McDonald of the Daily Mail are with me here in the studio, and there's a heck of a lot to talk about after last night's games. Yeah, great to have your company. Thank you very much for joining us live on the programme. And of course, lots to talk about after last night's fixtures. There's still an 8-point gap at the top of the table. And that's quite simply because game of the night at Tynecastle ended in a dramatic late winner, Hugh McDonald, for Celtic.
Hugely important night for Celtic, Peter. I think hugely important goal. I think the narrative coming up towards the end of the game, you know, Neil and Lennon after the match could say, you know, we didn't get beat, it's a hard place to come, we got a point, etc., etc. But to maintain the gap after this week and to do so in that fashion was huge psychologically for Celtic.
We're going to talk about Neil Lennon in a moment, but our reporter Gabriel Antoniazzi sums up last night's events.
Hamilton Academical earned a vital 3 points with a 2-0 win at Pittodrie that moves them up to 10th place, and the game featured a Marco van Basten tribute act from George Oakley. Neil Lennon made a winning return to the Celtic hot seat with a last-minute odds-on Edouard winner, giving the champions a 2-1 victory over Hearts and maintaining the 8-point gap at the top. Another scintillating first half, another goal for Morelos, another standout performance from Kamara. Impressive again from Rangers, but Gerrard was unhappy with the second half performance. The 10 men of Hibernian made it 3 wins out of 3 under Paul Heckingbottom with a 2-1 win over St Johnstone, with Mark McNulty grabbing 6 goals in 4 games now. And the Kilmarnock-Motherwell match at Rugby Park was called off by referee John Beaton at the start of the second half after fog made the game unplayable. The fixture could be played this weekend.
Yeah, well done to Kilmarnock. It's a fiver to get in this weekend at Rugby Park for the rescheduled fixture. You can give us your thoughts across social media on the programme, YouTube, of course, Twitter, and on Facebook. Thank you very much to all who've joined in. Liz Clark, great to have your company. Alison says, great to see the return of Neil Lennon. And that is the very point that we're going to start. We'll hear from Neil Lennon, first of all, on getting that win.
We put a quality ball in for the goal, which is something that we lacked as well tonight, you know, our final ball at times. But I can't knock the players. I mean, the mentality is absolutely brilliant, and I can't thank them enough for tonight. It's a brilliant win and psychologically huge. I'm not going to be critical of the team tonight. It's a brilliant, brilliant win. And it's been a difficult, really difficult couple of days for them. It has to be, you know, psychologically for them as well, to lose Brendan and the quick turnaround. That's not easy for them. So they've covered themselves in glory again tonight.
He got a hero's welcome, as you would expect, Ruffy.
Yeah, I think he's a big favourite with the fans, even though he was there the first time. He got on very well with them. He's their kind of manager. We saw it at Hibs as well. The fans buy into everything that he does. He's so passionate about, you know, the team that he's with, you know, and you could see that coming through. Yep, and of course, he did mention that he wasn't going to tinker too much with the Celtic side. No major changes in style. One thing that he also highlighted in the after-match press conferences, he might not have tinkered with it now, but he'll be trying to stop the playing the ball out from the back.
I'd like to stop that, because we were lucky first half, you know, when we were inviting pressure. And I don't know if it was Naismith who flashed one wide. And we just give encouragement that we didn't need to give. And then we're sloppy for, obviously, the penalty.
What did you make of Celtic's performance last night against Hearts? Jambos, did you feel you were worthy of at least a point? Well, when Neil Lennon was walking out, he would have been happy with the reception he received, but there's no doubt the Celtic fans let Brendan Rodgers know exactly what they thought of his decision to leave. There's the banner, Ruffy. You traded immortality for mediocrity, never a Celt, always a fraud. Harsh or not?
I think it's a wee bit harsh, to say the least. I can see why they're disappointed. I can see why, they would react like that. But I think if you take a step back and look at what he did achieve at the club, I think some of them might just say it is a wee bit over the top. But that's what supporters are like. And the supporters, buy into the club and they just want people at the club who want to be at the club. And obviously they feel let down with the timing of when he left, when there's everything to go for. And that's what you expect from real true fans.
Yeah, well, in contrast, the Celtic captain, Scott Brown, was glowing in his praise of the departed manager.
It's been very hard losing a top quality manager, but yet again, there's another top quality manager that's came in. So we're all going to miss Brendan. He's been fantastic for this club. And I think for me, 2.5 years ago, the club wasn't in a great place. The football that we were playing, the games that we were just winning the league. But he's came in, he's re-energised the whole club, and he's taken us into Champions League the last couple of years there as well. So he's been brilliant for me personally. It's just sad to see him leave. But as I say, we've got another great manager coming in. He's going to build on what Brendan done and hopefully keep it going till the end of the season. For me, he was unbelievable and he kept me going. He realised that I still had a couple of years left in my legs especially, and he put a lot of faith in me and a lot of trust as well.
Yeah, give us your view on Brendan Rodgers. What about the treatment from the Celtic fans? Thanks very much to Mary and Marie who've joined us on the programme. We're reacting to some of the live messages coming in on Facebook. I have to say though, looking at the overall performance, it was very much a Brendan Rodgers performance, Hugh, but I think Neil Lennon's got the perfect opportunity to tweak that. I think they'll be a bit more direct now.
Absolutely. I mean, I think I noticed his interview after the match last night, very diplomatic about everything. Obviously he's not wanting to denigrate in any way the manager or the players. There's two little points he made that I noticed. The first one was playing about the back. That's going to change. Another one was, pointing out that the goal that won the game came from from a ball into the box. Last night, Celtic, and for this season, Celtic playing out the back. I mean, one thing is that under Neil Lennon, there might be great excitement, but the angina attacks amongst the Celtic fans will go down because this, holding their breath every time the ball at one time went back to Craig Gordon and then back to Scott Bain, who's more comfortable, admittedly. That won't happen. I think the ball will be cleared much more quickly and I see an actual practical reason for that, because if a team is pressing you far up the park and you've got Timothy Weah, James Forrest, Burke, Sinclair, or any 2 out of 4 on the park, why wouldn't you hit it long?
Yeah, absolutely. The one downside to it all, and yet again it's reared its ugly head last night again, is the conduct of supporters who think clearly they can sing songs which are unsavoury at best. I really do wish the Celtic fans would cut out the songs about the IRA. It's not anything to do with football, nothing to do with Celtic, and they're using the platform to just peddle a load of bile, Ruffy.
Yeah, and I'm sure we all want to see it stopped. There's no doubt about that. It just tarnishes the whole club, and again, it's a small minority, on the scale of the amount of supporters are there.
Yeah, I was going to say to you, Ruffy, there was a heck of a lot of them singing the songs.
And the scale of the supporters that go to games, but it has to be stopped, and I think we are getting perilously close to the authorities doing something drastic that we all don't want to see, but if that's the only way it's going to stop it, it might have to happen.
Here's the police statement on the conduct of the Celtic supporters last night. Currently investigating reports of sectarian singing that took place within the stadium. Inquiries are being led by the Focus Unit, and of course coins being thrown from the away stand, and any information will be greatly received by the police. And also some of the conduct in bars as well with regards to unsavoury songs Celtic have also released a statement on that, just saying that they're condemning the conduct. We have no knowledge of those individuals or if they have any connection to Celtic, but one thing is certain, such disgusting and pathetic behaviour would never have any place at our club, and I think that's echoed by every decent person. What about our quiz? Have a look at this. On Facebook, and I might as well nail this rather than you just dance about it. Tam Reid says, just like Rangers but no mention of it. Well, quite simply on this programme, if you watch it on a regular basis, Tam, we do mention each individual unsavoury action as it happens. If it's an incident which involves grotesque singing, unsavoury songs coming from any team, then we mention it on an individual basis. But what we don't deal in is whataboutery, which is basically saying, oh well, let's try and brush this off by pointing elsewhere. And I think that's a common thing, especially in the west of Scotland. We're talking about the incidents from last night and what the police have detailed happened at Tynecastle.
Absolutely, and there's got to be personal responsibility in this. You know, everybody's saying what the government should do and what clubs should do and what players should do and how managers should react and what statements should be put out. This goes down to individual people. They should be taking a good look at themselves and saying, what are we doing here? You know, what are we doing as human beings here? And cut it out. It's as simple as that. It just must become unacceptable.
Yeah, absolutely, and we'll deal with it and continue to deal with each incident on a regular basis and condemn it as well, until such times as eventually we'll be talking about a stand being closed, a stadium being played behind closed doors. Okay, Rangers. The manager wasn't happy, but they thumped Dundee by 4 goals to nil. Morelos got his 28th of the season. Perhaps that's the standards of Steven Gerrard now, trying to get as much as he can out of this side.
Yeah, I think it's just his professionalism shining through. You know, he wants 90 minutes of quality out there. He's wanting 90 minutes of entertainment, and that means scoring goals. If you score that many in the first half, if you sort of equal it in the second half, the fans go away very, very happy. And then if you don't do it, people start questioning, well, why did you not do it in the second half? So that's what he's looking for. He's looking for this kind of consistency level, and I'm sure the players will do their utmost to get there.
Yeah, I'll tell you, all they can do is just try and keep winning on this. Not that I think from this programme, and we've reiterated it time and time again, I never thought there was a title race, but all Steven Gerrard can do in this period, I think, Hugh, is try and build a team with next season in mind.
Yeah, I think there was, to me, even as an individual, I thought this week would be a huge week. I felt if Celtic lost, for example, last night, and it went to 5, with Celtic and Rangers having to play twice before the end of the season, I think then you're going to yourself, there's not much room for Leaby then taking on the back of a manager going. I think the response by Celtic, bringing in Neil Lennon, and winning last night steadies the boat more than enough. I think the interesting thing about Rangers is at the moment is the last 2 managers that have faced them, Brian Rice and Jim McIntyre, have talked glowingly about the movement in the team. Yeah. So it seems as if something has switched on in the team, and that's quite right, because it takes time for a team to become fluid. But it looks as if Rangers are now much more smoother. I think Kamara has been a good addition. I think Kamara's very slick in the middle field, probably that little half beat quicker than Ryan Jackson, get the ball a bit more zippier. Gerrard's reaction's great. I mean, that's what you do. He'll be very, very pleased privately. But what he's doing is he's just laying down a marker that his standards are very high. But he must be pleased with the last 3 or 4 matches. I mean, Rangers are not conceding goals and they're scoring a lot of goals.
Yeah, I'll tell you, the one thing I've loved about this season, apart from the mayhem, and some of the things that have unfolded with criticism of referees, but sometimes the managers are absolutely brutal in their assessment of games. It's just a joyful time for a back page lead or this programme to be driven by it. Tommy Wright didn't miss Florian Camberia last night. Basically, he said should be embarrassed. The referee gets conned for the penalty. It's not a penalty. Simple as that. I don't blame the ref. I've watched it back and you've got to be embarrassed for the lad. Well, maybe not. I'm not sure what type of character he is, but he's conned the referee simple. He's looked as if he's been hit by a 40-foot truck. Now, having been in Tommy Wright's company, he doesn't shirk, a quote. I thought Florian Cambery dived to win Hibs the penalty.
Yeah, and it's an unfortunate thing that's happening in the game now. We have this word contact. Players now think the most minimum contact, they have the right to go down and make the referee make a decision. And again, it was the wrong one last night. And you can see why Tommy Wright's really mad, because I think he thought he was going to take something out of the game, and that sort of just turned everything on its head.
Yeah, I can't quite work out. They got the 3 points. It's always difficult. Hibs, they're doing well under Heckingbottom at the moment. I always feel as if it's great when the manager does well, but it is clear that transitional period where the players are still Neil Lennon's players, but playing for Paul Heckingbottom, but he's still managing to eke out the wins.
Yeah, I think I watched the game last Friday night at Dundee, and I was impressed by some of the things that Heckingbottom is putting in place. I think he's told his team to get the ball forward very, very quickly, the press quickly. All Neil Lennon traits, of course, as well. But always, again, a Neil Lennon trait, always going to win the game, always going all out to win the game. It was a fantastic game last Friday night. I mean, it looks a Tonkin when you look at the scoreline, but Dundee at one point, are well in it, and a couple of marginal and correct offside decisions being the difference. Heckingbottom is I think a very intriguing appointment this year.
Yeah. Might be an intriguing appointment, but I've spoken to a few of the journals. He's certainly not going to be a back page lead, I'll tell you that. He's not for jumping in with any great strong opinions. But listen, fair play to him. We wish him well for the Hibs. I can't quite work out, Ruffy, where is the natural order, Hearts or Hibs? Because, Craig Levine's already mentioned, I think in the Edinburgh Evening News today, that he's not sure about Stevie Naismith. He hopes he's fit, for Monday's game against your lot. Yeah. Naismith, for me, is so crucial to Hearts.
Yeah, he's a big player. You can see when he's on the park, everybody responds to what he does. His energy's there. He's always geeing people up, and that means having a go at them as well, which they all seem to respond to. So, no, he's a massive player, and I think Craig knows, if he was going to be out for 2 or 3 weeks, it'd be a massive blow for them.
Yeah. Yep. OK, on behalf of the media, not this programme, may I add, but some of our fellow compatriots put Kilmarnock and Aberdeen in the title race just to keep it bubbling along, but you can't lose at Pittodrie to Hamilton. I mean, no disrespect to Hamilton. It was a great goal from Oakley, but 2-0 against Hamilton Accies at home. The Aberdeen fans weren't happy. The 36 Hamilton fans were happy as they all travelled back, I presume, in something like you're driving, Hugh.
My Ford Fiasco.
Yes.
That's a dreadful result for Aberdeen. It's just dreadful. I mean, there's certain results in the season where you go, right, it can happen. But Aberdeen have had some really poor results of late. We're talking about how great a season it has been for controversy, for close matches, for fire, for incident. And Sunday would normally, we would think it would be the same. Rangers going up to Aberdeen in a Scottish Cup quarter-final. So Aberdeen will have to be ready for that. They really do, because this, basically now, their season relies on it. If Aberdeen go out of the Scottish Cup, they're not going to get second in the league, and the season is in real danger of petering out. Yeah,
a couple of things before we finish. Darren Grandison mentions, and rightly so, throwing coins at the Hearts keeper last night after throwing them at Chris Boyd. The one thing that I think should happen from the east and the west of Scotland is, if the police are going to look at these incidents, once they actually have the CCTV evidence, I think they should actually then say, this is the person who's been charged or taken out, and then obviously it highlights, it's a name and shame game, Ruffy, that I think should be adopted.
Yeah, and it should be done, you're right, as quick as possible, not dwindling on for a month or two and then we find out who it is. Let's do it here and now. Let's let the people round about the culprit know that this is what's going to happen to you. You're going to get banned for life.
Yeah. Hugh, this will be our last chance to talk to you ahead of the Cup games. Just briefly, can you give me your 4 teams that are going through?
Briefly, I think Rangers, Celtic, and I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, Hearts. Go on, tell him. He can take it, he's man. Yeah, and Dundee United or Inverness?
I think Dundee United.
Yeah,
but I'm not sure about that one because of John Roberts. I think he's doing a good job up there.
Yeah, okay. I share your view on that, Hugh. Ruffy, I mean, are you good enough to cause a shock?
Yeah, at home, on the night, if we've got everybody available, I think we are.
You just don't want to go 2-0 up, do you?
No.
Yeah. No. Okay. Quite simply, it's day 55 of Ruffy wearing his favourite jumper on the show. A lot of people are now wondering where they can purchase it. It was actually only a one-off that his mum knitted for him, and he's determined to wear it on every programme we have. From Ruffy, from Hugh McDonald, and from everybody who got involved. Thanks for watching the show.
Expect the best used car deals guaranteed. Visit arnoldclark.com.